Today, we are turning our attention to January being National Blood Donor Month as the country continues to undergo a national blood shortage. And on this Sunday's In Focus, State Assembly member John McDonald is here. He will tell us why donating is impactful for your local community. Plus, Eastern New York Regional CEO of the American Red Cross, Kevin Coffey, is also joining us in studio. He talks about how one person donating blood can make a great impact during a disaster. And later, we continue our conversation with Kevin to learn more about the services the American Red Cross offers. All that and so much more happening right now on In Focus. Welcome back to In Focus as we discuss donating blood this month. We're joined by State Assembly member John McDonald, and it's so good to see you. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too, as well. It's good to be back.
All right, so let's talk about this. As you know, this is National Blood Donor Month. It's an important month for people to put a spotlight on this issue, focus on it. Why is donating so crucial for local communities?
You know, it's interesting. I've worked with the Red Cross now for about 25 years or 26 years in public office, and they're always there when people need them. You know, most people think of the fire or when somebody is out of their home and things like that, but you know, we always have known synonymously that they're associated with blood donation, but I don't think what people realize is that there's a chronic, constant need for blood donations. Period, the end. And this time of year, it gets even more challenging because we all know what it's like to be interrupted by the weather, right? It throws off our schedule, throws off our routine. And that also applies to individuals who donate blood. I know many individuals, I'm not one of them. I donate maybe a couple times a year. I try to do it more, but sometimes the schedule gets a little bit tough. But they are very dedicated individuals who are there every time they can be. And you know darn well, when the weather comes up, flu's going around.
Yeah.
Trust me, from the pharmacy perspective, I don't want to say everyone's sick, but pretty close to everyone's sick. It actually interrupts the regular routine of what is always a pressing need to have blood donors.
And just like you said, you know from the pharmacy aspect because you're a licensed pharmacist.
Right.
Can you talk about the importance of safety and health for the community and getting that, getting the flu shot, making sure that you're taking care of yourself and the importance of having those blood donations?
Well, it's funny. I always say we shouldn't call it the health care system because that means you're providing health when they need it. It's about prevention, right? It's about making sure that the simple things like washing your hands, making sure that you get adequate sleep and exercise and nutrition. And at the same token, when you talk about prevention and being part of a solution, it's about trying to get yourself in that slot of being a regular blood donor to help meet a constant pressing need, which has gotten much more dire, particularly during this time of year.
Right.
Winter's tough. I mean, listen, we talked about this before, sun's up late, sun's down early, late, and that sun directs us when we want to be in and out. And there's a lot of people who, once they lock themselves in the house, they're not going anywhere. And it could be for days, if not weeks.
Right.
But the reality is, for people who have the ability and the time and have the commitment and the conscience, it's a good opportunity to be out there donating blood.
And
because someone's going to need it. It makes a huge difference. And what I'm always caught about, we actually did last year for the first time, and Kevin Coffey is the leader of the Red Cross. We actually had a drive at the legislature, and I've been there for 13 years. We never did it. It was great. A lot of members, we all literally rolled up our sleeves and participated, and we're anxious to do that again during this next upcoming session, which, as you know, just started yesterday. But I'm always amazed at the different groups and organizations that really go out of the way to have drives on their sites and on their facilities. And as you know, the Red Cross has made the process so seamless, a lot easier. I mean, yes, there's a lot of questions, but it's nowhere as laborious as it used to be, so that when people come in, they can come in, roll up the sleeve, hit a few buttons, get in and get out. You're talking maybe a 30-minute commitment at the most.
Yeah.
At the most.
So I know, a lot of people don't plan for, medical episodes where they may need blood, they may need an infusion. What is your message to help get more people donating to potentially save a life or help a loved one who may be going through a procedure who needs it?
There's two things I think about. Number one, and whether you have somebody in a procedure or, unfortunately every day when we read the news or listen to the news, we hear about a car crash. Understand when that person is going to Albany Med or St. Peter's here in the Capital Region, they're going to be needing a very large volume of blood. And therefore, you may think that the accident is tragic. What's even more tragic is there may not be enough blood to help those individuals. So, I always like to put myself in those shoes and say, you know what, if it was me, I would hope somebody would step up and donate blood. And maybe that's the approach we should take as well on our daily lives. And you hate to have a car crash remind you of that, but that's usually one of the most biggest traumas that has the biggest demand for blood. But the truth of the matter is these hospitals right now are jam-packed. They're full.
Right.
My daughter's a nurse. I hear about it quite regularly. They're, granted they've hired a lot of nurses at Albany, but they still have a huge amount of people there. And in a large percentage of those situations, they're going to need blood. And what simple, easy gift to give than a couple pints of blood.
Right. We recently did a story saying that wait times at emergency rooms here in the state are about 4 hours if it's non-emergency. And so I think about the importance of, donating blood because, you may wait, however long to get be seen, and then there's no blood to support that
There's
person.
a variety of factors, but and once again, the demand is high,
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have a primary care provider, but it's those traumas particularly that really literally suck the blood, right? They take a lot of blood, and we got to make sure that there's an ample supply. And once again, it's a simple task. Yes, and we've made over the years, through the legislature, opportunities for people to go out there and do that. We've actually, I remember as a mayor, we would allow our staff to take time off, pay them to take time off to give blood. And I think that's a good way to do it. And I know there's a lot of employers in the private sector that are very conscious about that. And, if they want to look for a New Year's resolution to pick up on, give their employees an hour off to go out and donate blood. Wouldn't that be great?
That'd be amazing. I have about a minute left. They just told me that in my ear, but I did want to ask you about this. Do you think like incentive programs such as Super Bowl tickets or, other things like that, do you think those really bring out the numbers? Or, what is it going to take to bring out, many numbers so we don't have to worry about it?
Sadly, what is always going to have an impact is when somebody experiences it themselves. The reality is, as people find individuals that are impacted by this, that's going to be the most meaningful. But listen, a lot of people are motivated by incentives. So if we can find incentives that work, and it's not just one, maybe it's 101, let's go for it.
There you go. Do you have any blood drives coming up in your district that you wanted to talk about?
Off the top of my head, I don't know of any right now.
I'm sure, they're always happening, right?
Well, that's the thing. You get numb to the point because they're always doing it, right?
Which is great.
It's like a Yogi Bear. There are not many going on because they're always doing them.
Right. Well, that's good. Listen, we really appreciate you coming in and talking about this. You as a pharmacist, we always look to you for, health and advice on, how to make ourselves healthy. So thank you so much.
Pleasure to be here anytime.
All right, Assemblyman John McDonald. Coming up, we talk with the leader of the Eastern New York American Red Cross. He tells us why the country is undergoing a national blood shortage as well. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us as we discuss January being National Blood Donor Month. And joining me now is Kevin Coffey. He's Eastern New York Regional Chief Executive Officer for the American Red Cross. So I want to thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so we know that the Red Cross serves millions of people across the country, including right here in New York. Can you talk a little bit about more of the services that the Red Cross offers?
Sure. So the Red Cross provides a number of services to New Yorkers. So every 8 minutes, the Red Cross is responding to a disaster. So that could be something as small as a home fire, or it could be a larger event like flooding or tornado activity. So the Red Cross volunteers are always out there responding to disasters big and small. We also provide a lot of services for training services, whether it's lifeguarding classes, first aid, EED training, babysitting classes. And folks also know us for the work that we do in service to armed forces, taking care of our veterans. We are active at the VA hospital, but anytime service members are deployed around the globe, the Red Cross handles those emergency communications, supporting troops around the globe.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's actually, my father was deployed to Vietnam when he found out the birth of his first son. And that was a Red Cross communication that delivered that news. So wherever service members are deployed around the globe, Red Cross volunteers are handling those emergency communications.
Wow. Okay, so we know that it's National Blood Donor Month, and I want to know what kind of impact does one person make on a donation, with its donation?
Sure. So one donation can save up to 3 lives. And every 2 seconds, someone needs blood. So that could be a patient in a hospital waiting for a transfusion, someone going through cancer treatments who needs platelets. So the need is constant, and you think it's a small, donation, but you can impact up to 3 lives with that one donation.
That's amazing. And a lot of people don't think, because they just think, okay, I'm going to give blood and maybe I'll just help on a car accident or something, but it can help with multiple people in that car accident, really.
Sure. And also, when we don't have blood products available, those patients suffer. They're in need. I have one board member, his son was battling brain cancer, and he was going to the hospital for a platelet treatment. And when he got to the hospital, we were experiencing a shortage, and they had to turn his son away, and he had to go home. No one should ever have to need medical treatment and not have it available for him. So a power that we all have is we can all roll up our sleeves, donate a pint of blood to help someone else.
As you're talking about that, I'm thinking about the fact that we're in a national blood shortage. Could you talk a little bit about why that is, and is there ever going to be a time where we catch up?
So the need for blood is critical, but right now we're facing some shortages due to the winter weather. We've had a lot of winter weather related events that's canceling blood drives. We also had a really significant cold and flu season. So a lot of healthy donors have been sidelined for a little bit. And also around the holidays, folks' schedules change. So we have like a perfect storm of events that have led to really needing additional blood products for our area hospital.
Yeah. So I know the Red Cross also is known for responding to disasters, from hurricanes to even, family fires. I know we've had, some major disasters here in upstate New York where, flooding. There are so many emergencies where the American Red Cross shows up, and they may be the first people that some people come across. Can you talk a little bit about why it's so important to you to be a part of this organization and why volunteers are critical for you?
Yeah. Volunteers are the lifeblood of the American Red Cross. We could not do this work without incredible volunteers. And, it's not the Red Cross coming into a community. The Red Cross is there, and it's reflective of that community. So the Red Cross is all about neighbors helping neighbors. I think about in Syracuse, there was a vehicle that struck a gas line, and 60 individuals were displaced over Thanksgiving. We operated a shelter at Onondaga Community College through Thanksgiving. Folks gave up their Thanksgiving and time away from their families to help others. We never know when a disaster is going to strike, but we know that there's good, hearted folks out there that become volunteers to help their neighbors in need.
Yeah. What are a few examples of why blood is so important in a crisis?
So, blood is essential. We can't manufacture it. So blood is essential for, someone, a new mother who's given birth that, needs a transfusion, a car accident, a burn victim, or someone who's facing a medical condition. We have individuals with rare blood disorders like sickle cell or, different, rare blood disorders that need transfusions. A single sickle cell patient may have up to a dozen transfusions in the course of the year for their treatment.
Wow. So it's extremely important to be involved in your community, and this is such a great way to do it. It really doesn't take much time at all to donate blood, does it? No,
it doesn't. Actually donated blood this week. A blood drive in the community of the Capital District Latinos. It was a quick, easy process. And the benefit is if you also download the Red Cross Blood app, you can actually track where your blood goes.
Really?
So this week I celebrated my 2-gallon donation, so I've donated over 16 times. So I'm able to track my health history in that blood donor app, but I'm also able to track where that blood goes. So my most recent blood donation went to a hospital in upstate New York, and I don't know who it was, but it was a patient in need that received it, and that's such a rewarding feeling.
And you know what? That might just be the connection that people need, to know that it's actually going somewhere, and it's not going maybe across the country, but even though, there's a need there as well, but to think you're helping your neighbor.
Yeah, but the very first time I downloaded the app and I donated, the first donation I had went to Philadelphia Children's Hospital.
Oh.
And now I'm a parent with 3 kids, and just, if I was a parent whose child needed blood, I wouldn't want it to not be there.
Right.
So this is something that we can all do. I mean, if folks are making their New Year's resolutions, we hope folks think about donating blood. You can do it every 56 days. And that's an incredible gift that you can give your neighbor.
All right, Kevin, you going to stick around for another block? I want to talk a little bit more about this.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll be right back. Stay with us. We're going to have another segment coming up. We're going to be right back with In Focus after this short break. Welcome back to In Focus. We are continuing our conversation with Kevin Coffey. He's the Eastern New York Regional Chief Executive Officer for the American Red Cross. And as you were telling me earlier, you were saying that somebody can donate, more than just maybe once every couple of months. What is the time frame again? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So there's different blood products you can donate. You can donate, whole blood, and that's every 56 days. And then some folks donate platelets, and that could be up to every 2 weeks you can donate. So there's different blood products you can donate. Most folks are donating whole blood, and that's every 56 days. But when you download the Red Cross app, you can, find out when your next available time is, and it will actually send you a reminder as well. So there's lots of ways that you can kind of set up a system to donate throughout the year.
Get those push notifications.
Yep, and there's always incentives and fun rewards as well. So right now we're doing a promotion. You can win a trip to go to the Super Bowl. So there's always different incentives to encourage folks to come out, but the biggest reward is knowing that you're helping others.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, do you feel like those promotions, bring out more people, or is it just those diehards that always donate? They're like, okay, I'm getting my name in that drawing.
Yeah, so some folks will come out just specific for promotion. So recently we had something for, Peanuts, the cartoon. So we donated, we had socks that folks can get. The biggest promotion that we have in New York is with Stewart Shops. Where you can donate a pint of ice cream. You could donate a pint of blood and get a pint of ice cream. Yeah. So there's always fun promotions that happen throughout the year. And our donors sometimes love the different T-shirts and campaigns we have. But that's all about making sure when folks are wearing those T-shirts in the community, they're also representing the Red Cross and the need for blood.
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about the requirements of a person who can donate blood?
Sure. So there's eligibility requirements. You need to be, over 16 with, parental consent. There are some, medical questionnaires that you're going to have to answer, and that's all to make sure that it's a safe process for both the donor but also the recipient. So in that health history, we ask some questions to our donors to make sure that they're not on any medications that would prevent them from being able to donate, but also making sure that we have a safe blood supply for the recipients.
Does the Red Cross hold events every month? Or is it, you're looking for places to hold them? Or
every single day, we're hosting blood drives. There's a number of fixed site locations where if you go to redcross.org, you can find a blood drive near you. And they're also held out within the communities as well. So you may be able to find a blood drive nearest to you at a time that works for you. Or you could also host your own blood drive. So if you're interested, you could go to redcross.org and host a blood drive, and you can bring your community together, whether it's, a school or it's your church. There's a number of ways that you can bring your own community to do a drive in memory of a family member who's going through cancer and is getting blood treatment. So there's a lot of ways you can, partner with the Red Cross.
It's so funny. I was going to ask you that same question. You just hit the nail on the head, because I think that there are organizations or businesses that really, want to find a way to bring their employees together in a way that is meaningful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, this would be a great way to do it.
Yeah, we recently hosted a blood drive. It was an in-memory drive of, someone who, had a long battle with cancer, but during their treatment had so many blood transfusions, and the family, to honor their legacy, wanted to hold a blood drive. So that's a great way to kind of show support and also give back.
Mm-hmm. Could you touch once again on the training and certifications that are available through the American Red Cross? Because I think that this is a really important part of your mission.
Yes, it is. The mission is to prevent, alleviate human suffering. And when moments matter and seconds matter, if someone has a cardiac event, would you know what to do? So if you are ready to administer CPR or hands-only CPR, you have provided a chance for that person to recover. So the Red Cross provides CPR and AED training, but we also offer a number of other programs to be prepared. We have lifeguarding classes. So my son just became certified lifeguard. We have babysitting classes. So if you have a family member that's caring for others, it's a great way for them to earn some money, but also, build a valuable skill. We also have a program called Ready Rating, and Ready Rating is for businesses to look at, what steps can they take to be prepared for a disaster. So ReadyRating.org is a great program for businesses and schools and community groups to do an assessment on their own facilities. Do they have an evacuation plan? Do they have the resources that they need to, withstand a disaster?
Actually, that was just recently rolled out, wasn't it?
It
Not
was
too long ago.
Yeah, so it's a newer program that we're really encouraging. When disasters strike, communities that are prepared respond better. So if we can encourage communities to go to readyrating.org and do their own assessment. They'll get their own report card of things that they can work on to be prepared for a disaster. And a number of those, training tabletop exercises that they get in resources can just help prepare their business or community group for when a disaster strikes.
Right. It's so funny because, you want to prepare your people, say, for example, right here in this building, we have done the AED training. Yeah. And it was pretty fascinating to see our response as we were trying to do the AED, as we were trying to do the chest manipulation. It's a lot more challenging than you think, and it's worth getting that training. Even if you don't know what to do after you've taken that training and you're in that situation, you may feel just a slight bit more calm to be able to think in an emergency.
Yes. A lot of the work that Red Cross does is training for these disaster events, training for when these events happen. And, if you've gone through any of the Red Cross trainings, you're a little bit more confident. And the new AED machines that are available also have helps and prompts to support you during those events. So there's a lot of new technology that's making it easier. And Red Cross training is also very accessible. You can take a lot of our trainings online for free, and there's also some that you can find a class near you. So we really encourage folks in the new year to make it, a resolution to be prepared for disasters, be available in their community to respond to a disaster, and also in this urgent time, donate blood when possible.
Okay, let's talk the different ways that people can either get involved or get more information from you and be a part of the movement of taking care of our people.
You said it best, that the Red Cross is a humanitarian movement. It requires movement and people. So 3 simple ways that folks can be engaged is 1, become a Red Cross volunteer. Go to redcross.org, learn about different ways that you could support. We have so many different volunteer opportunities. You could be driving blood from our blood drives to the area hospitals. You could be responding to a home fire, or you could be helping just around the office and general support. You can roll up your sleeve and make a blood donation. We talked earlier about how you can help patients in need, with blood donations. And then the final way is make a financial contribution to support our mission. We are not a government agency. We rely on the generosity of the American public to deliver this life-saving work.
Kevin Coffey, Eastern New York Regional Chief Executive Officer of the American Red Cross. I want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we want to thank you so much for watching this edition of In Focus. I'm Jody Kenny. We appreciate you spending your Sunday with us.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. To keep up with important issues impacting our communities and hear more conversations with the people who are shaping the future, subscribe to our channel. You can also download our app or find Spectrum News on your TV for balanced, in-depth political coverage and more.